In this video, I wanted to jump on the GQ trend and share with you 10 things that I can't live without. Because of the nature of my channel, all of this stuff is going to be very productivity and wellness focused, with a few other things thrown in there. And clearly I can live without these things, but they make my life better and easier or more convenient or more self-care filled, whatever it may be. Number 1, the Things keyboard shortcut. So a productivity tip that you might have seen around is to always have a distractions book while you're trying to do something productive. That way, when you are in the middle of writing your paper and you all of a sudden feel an urge to look for way cuter cat collars for your cat, you can write that down in your distractions book, continue doing your productive thing without that weighing on your mind, and go back to it later. I do about 90% of my work at my desk with my big Mac computer sitting in front of me, and I'm constantly getting distracted by my thoughts, ideas, things that I want to do. And the way that I deal with that is not through a physical distractions book, but through a command spacebar shortcut that I use using Things 3. If you're not familiar with Things, it's this minimal, really intuitive to-do list manager. I adore it because it's really fast to use, and also it has this command spacebar shortcut. So I press command spacebar on my computer whenever a thought pops into my mind, and I write down whatever that is. I press enter and it's now stored in my to-do list manager. I use that shortcut so many times every single day. I really would struggle to live without it. If I lost it, I would have to replace it. Number 2, the FitOn app. I have talked a lot about this app on my Instagram, if you follow me on Instagram, because when I found it, I was so very excited. This app is free, but it's also something that I would happily pay for because I think that it's worth it. I used to really struggle with workout videos. I would try and find lots of free workout videos on YouTube, but then I would get sucked down a YouTube hole because of the suggested section. The FitOn app is a free workout video app. It has so much variety. It has people like Cassie Ho, so there's a bunch of other fitness experts that do little fitness videos that you can follow along to. It's completely free with an upgrade to meal planning and prepping. This app actually introduced me to mat Pilates. I'd never done any kind of Pilates before, but it taught me that I actually really prefer slow burn workouts as opposed to HIIT workouts. With this app, you can write in how many days you want to work out in a week. It'll give you a little plan of what it thinks that you should do in those days. It's just a great app, and it's made me enjoy fitness again. I use it a lot of mornings in my week. Number 3 is Notion, specifically my commonplace book in Notion. You guys know that I would really struggle to do without Notion, which is a productivity and organization app that I've talked about a lot before, but specifically within Notion, I have a commonplace book, and I think that's something that I would really struggle to do without. I've created this section of my Notion. It's actually available in my Notion pack, which you can grab in the description down below, and it has all of my learnings in this beautiful curated space. In my commonplace book, I have my life notes, which I've talked about before. Usually these are notes that I've taken from podcasts, sometimes audiobooks or newsletters, just random places around the web. Then I have my book notes, so any books that I've read and have taken notes on sit and live here. I have all of my favorite quotes. I am an absolute sucker for a good short piece of wisdom in the form of a quote. I also have my interesting articles and videos section, and all of that I use all of the time. You will see all of the stuff from my commonplace book is sprinkled out through all of my content, including my email newsletters, my Instagram captions, and my YouTube videos. I also have down the bottom my swipe file. It's a bit more specific to content creators, and it's based on Austin Kleon's Steal Like an Artist book, where he recommends having a swipe file of all the things you find inspiring around the web, like format wise. So if I have an email newsletter format that I really like, I'll chuck it in here, or a graphic that I'm like, I like the style of that, I'll put it in there as well. I adore my commonplace book. I use it so bloody frequently. And like I said, if you want a commonplace book, you can grab it in my Notion pack down below. Moving along to my daily planner. This is the Life Map Collective daily planner, but it's also my daily planner that I use, live by, and married to. I revisit this planner like 3 times a day, morning, midday, and night. I am probably more of a naturally scattered and unfocused person without some form of planning in my life. life. I'm a person that needs to plan in order to actually move forward and to do things. It's pretty essential for me personally. Some people are wildly proactive. They don't need a planning system. I am not that person. So I use my planner to prioritize my day, to time block out my time. I write my gratitudes list and my wins list, as well as doing my habit tracking in my planner. Without my planner, I would absolutely struggle. I've talked about this before. If I don't do a daily plan the night before, I always consistently won't have as good of a day as if I had done a daily plan. Number 5, my iPad. This is a new addition to my Apple ecosystem, or it's rather an upgrade. I used to have an older iPad model and I recently upgraded to the iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil as well as the little keyboard attachment. And since I've got it, I feel like it has been by my side almost 24/7. It's definitely the most expensive thing on this list, but I had to mention it because I absolutely love it. I don't really splash out on an awful lot. I have a lovely Toyota Corolla, very sensible car. I don't really do designer clothes, but when it comes to my tech, I really like investing, and the Apple iPad, oh, I'm in love. I've kept this iPad very much work, productivity focused. So far, I've been using it for taking all of my book notes with my Apple Pencil, which is just divine. I use my FitOn app on my Apple iPad when I do my workouts of a morning. I also am tracking my time using a tracker. I'll probably do a little iPad tour soon to show you guys a little more in depth if that's something that you're interested in. But I think this is something that I would struggle to live without now that I have it. The next thing is Lastpass. I really couldn't go for this whole video without talking about Lastpass. This is a password management tool, and I've talked about it before because it's something that I never thought that I needed until I had it, and once I had it, I feel like I've just become a little fangirl. I'm like, everyone needs this. No one should go without it, especially if you own a business or you just, for some reason, maybe you're a student, you have lots of accounts. I have a wild amount of accounts online, and I used to constantly use the same password, or if I tried to use a different password, I'd always forget it. So I have to go through that forgot password link, that bloody dreaded link. Thankfully, that doesn't happen anymore because of Lastpass. I use it all the time, every single day with consistency. The next thing on this list that you were probably expecting is my Google Home, and I would say specifically the what's the time and the shopping list functions. Those are the two things that we use the most. I am constantly, when I'm getting ready and I'm losing track of time, because I do that quite a lot, I'm yelling at Google Home being like, what's the time? What's the time? To update myself as I go. We are constantly yelling at our shopping list, adding things to the shopping list that makes sure that everything gets bought in the weekly grocery shop. The next tool is Colourslurp. Colourslurp is something I use all the time. It's probably more applicable if you do create stuff online. It's basically a color palette holder, and you can slurp up colors on the internet or anywhere on your computer whenever you see them. That way you can reference the color codes whenever you need them. I use this to store all of my brand colors. That way when I'm in Canva or when I'm in Photoshop or when I am over in, I don't know, Instagram, whatever, I have access to all of my color codes. It's super easy to use, and when you actually pick a color, it makes this slurping noise. It's like it's slurping up the color, which is just really fun and satisfying. If I can put a little screen recording of it, I will. Next up is breath spray. This is random, probably not so productivity focused, but I do always have breath spray on me. It is in my bag. That way, if I've just had lunch and I'm going somewhere, I can use my breath spray in the car before I get out, and I know that I'm not, I don't have horrible breath. Nice breath is important. Next up is my phone tripod. Once again, this is probably more of a creator focused tool, but it's something that I use a lot. I'm not actually sure where this phone tripod is from, but I will link it down below. I had a lot of trouble finding a good tripod. Most of them are geared towards like selfie stick type things, so you can take a landscape photo of yourself. I actually wanted it to record stories for Instagram or record reels, and what I struggled with was all of them were geared towards landscape, and when you tried to have them vertical, they'd literally tip over, which was really useless. So when I found this, they actually sent me one and it tipped over the first time. They were like, hey, we've actually upgraded. So I asked for the upgraded one, and it has more of a weighted bottom, so the vertical works perfectly. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen me use this a lot. You might not have seen it, but I was using it. On the screen, I am going to have a playlist filled with videos about little tiny ways to improve your life. I talk about tools that improve your life, as well as more immediate little changes that you can make to improve your life that are super actionable and doable. The first video in that playlist will be 15 tiny ways to get your life together, and that was a video that did really well, that people really liked. It is hyper actionable. So you can click on that playlist on the screen, as well as down below to access a whole bunch of videos on little ways to improve your life. I appreciate you so very much, and I will see you soon.